It's time for the main event of Heatwave, as it's time for the NXT Championship match between Javon Evans and the champ Femi. Who will win? Well, with Javon's ribs taped up, the match is on, and he immediately runs into an attempted fall from grace, but a trio of punches is able to save him from disaster, as he now goes for the OG cutter, yet Oba manages to catch him with a German suplex even though he backflips out of it. Then both men just lock up, and Oba naturally drives Javon into the corner, although neither man cheap shots the other, as the champ demands the challenger to bring it, which he most certainly does, wrenching the ruler's arm, although Oba manages to overpower him and drive him down, before once again demanding for Javon to bring it. And once again, he does, and he just gets immediately pushed back, and he responds to this with a slap, before now asking Oba to bring it, and he tries to, though he gets caught with a standing Spanish fly, and Javon tries to get the early win, but this fails, as Oba kicks out at 1. And as soon as Oba gets up, he manages to plant Javon down with a huge one-handed spine buster. Then the Conqueror picks him up and just chucks Javon to the outside, and the champ follows, hurling him ruthlessly onto the barricade. And after Uranagi onto it as well, he goes for a chokeslam, yet Javon gets out of dodge. Then he double foot stomps Oba, though as he goes to attack, the ruler targets the injured ribs and takes him down, and then he puts him into the ring. Although as he gets onto the apron, Javon springs up, forearming the champ, which stuns him long enough to springboard DDT him onto the hardest part of the ring. But he doesn't stay down for long, so Javon gets bouncy, nearly a humongous dive onto the ruler. Yet he still won't fall, so Javon goes for another. Or so you think, flipping away and taunting at Femi. And this riles him up, catching his super kick attempt, though he gets insecuried. And with his flippy stand, Javon super kicks Oba, which actually knocks him down, which is followed up with a kick to the back. But Oba avoids the second double foot stomp as he just forcefully takes Javon down. Then he targets Evans' gut and back, stomping both areas to great effect. And with an elbow straight to the heart, he deadlifts him up and goes for a power slam, yet Javon slips out of it and chop blocks Oba. Then he goes to the middle rope, although his jump gets caught, even though he's able to fight out of Femi's grasp and then attempts to roll him up, which only gets him a 2 count. Yet his next forearm gets no sold from Femi, who just European uppercuts him down. And Javon just desperately crawls into the corner, and this allows for him to block Oba's next attack, going back to the middle rope and this time successfully diving onto him. Then he goes for a slap, though Oba counters and just decimates him with strikes. And after taking him down with a second European uppercut, he deadlifts him up again, and this time actually manages to follow through, power slamming Javon down and going into the cover. Though this doesn't do the trick. So he goes to grab him, yet Javon knees him, and as both men get up, Evans looks for a blue thunder bomb. Yet he just can't quite lift the bigger man, as Oba picks him up and drops him back down with another big power move. Though Javon continues to survive. So Oba goes for the fall from grace, yet Javon tries rolling him up again, only for him to be picked up and hurled across the ring. Then he goes for a German suplex, although Javon escapes this and tries a second roll-up. But like always, second time isn't the charm, as the bouncy boy ascends to the heavens and looks for a dive, which misses as he clutches his leg, and ultimately gets taken down by a simple clothesline. Then Oba singles in on the leg, even applying a Boston Crab, which targets both the back and legs. And Javon tries to crawl the ropes, though Oba just applies more and more pressure on the young OG. But Javon just won't quit, as he crawls and crawls to the bottom rope, and eventually, after a mighty struggle, he makes it. So Oba continues working over the leg until he goes for the fall from grace again, though Javon claws his way out of it before going for a spinning kick, which gets caught into a powerbomb position, yet he's able to wriggle out of it enough to get onto the apron, and he fights back, springboard clotheslining the ruler, but he isn't satisfied with just this, as he then connects a gruesome looking springboard frog splash, and he naturally goes into the cover. However, Obafemi kicks out at 2, so he goes for an OG cutter, which gets turned into a German suplex, no backflips involved, and then he looks for the fall from grace, which still can't arrive, as after this, Javon lights him up with strikes, culminating in a kick that rocks him to his core. Then after a drop kick into the corner, Javon hoists the bigger man up into the top rope and naturally joins him as he goes for a Spanish fly, but all he can find is Oba giving him a bookend off the top rope. Yet this isn't what keeps Javon down, as Javon desperately tries to get to the apron to recover, although he gets met by the champ who runs the camp, who throws him into the ring and subsequently connects a release back suplex. Yet the fall from grace still can't seem to land, as another trio of punches allows for Evans to escape, before both men demand for the other to bring it. Which leads to them trading strikes like there's no tomorrow, but eventually, both men stagger as Obafemi manages to hit a fall from grace. It finally connected, Javon couldn't avoid it any longer, yet he manages to power out. Obafemi is in disbelief, so he just goes for another release back suplex, though the young OG backflips out of it before nailing the spinning kick alongside finally nailing the OG cutter, and he sprawls into the cover, thinking that may be it, and oh how wrong he was, as the ruler kicks out. He doesn't know what more to do, as the Conqueror begins to rise slowly, before he gets clobbered by Javon, as he's then sent into the corner and put it on the top rope, and after a vicious shot, Javon Evans once again looks for the avalanche Spanish fly, which this time actually connects. And after a complimentary frog splash, he then goes for and connects a second OG cutter. And with a third, he then connects an unbelievable double spring tornillo splash. And with him exhausted, he goes into the cover and picks up the win. And once he gets up after this war, he accepts his prize, as he is now the new NXT World Champion. But where do we go from here? Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. As if you like this story, I think this might interest you.